What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and I'm reading this really strange article, and I thought it was a joke. I thought it was actually part of the Onion News or something like that. So there's an individual JP Morgan analyst who is continuously, not just recently, just continuously saying that Tesla's is just overvalued and you just need to sell it and get out of it, being one of the more bearish individuals on the analyst committee for this electric vehicle for Tesla, without a fact. So this is Ryan Blinkmore of JP Morgan. Raises price target from, again, to 295 from 275. This is where I was like, wait a minute, what? Okay, let me try to understand this. He's saying he's affirmed his rating with the stock, with the rating of the stock at underweight, meaning underweight within the financial terms, meaning you have to start trimming your position and selling it, meaning it's just way overvalued and it's going to potentially come down to his price target at 295. Hey, I would love for it to come down to 295, right, boys? But so this doesn't really go into much great detail, so I kind of went through and looking at who this guy was. So there's a great thing that can track analysts' different calls. You can see here Ryan's call on Tesla. He has the position to sell, price target to the downside of nearly 80%, and that was of yesterday. So we can kind of go through on, I thought this was just like, okay, he's just doing his due diligence, letting people, hey, Tesla's hitting 1400, guys, take a little bit off the table. But after I started looking into it, this guy's been telling it to sell you the whole way up. Like, even like in 2018 and early 2019, like, just continue saying sell, and just continue just giving it a slap in the face and just maintaining this ever since, like, basically the beginning of 18, on just being very pessimistic and not seeing the full potential of the technology and what's really behind a Tesla, not just a consumer good product that people like and it's flashy and it's luxurious, but there's something else going on, why this individual is just really just giving a total of 67 ratings of sell. Like, yeah, maybe one time it'll go down. Like, there's a couple times he said to sell up here and it went down, but ever since he's still been selling to sell. So I had to clean my glasses. I had to check multiple understanding of if I read it right, and I was like, this guy has said 67 times that this is just way overvalued. It's crazy, right? Like, am I just the only one that's kind of scratching my head here? I'm like, is he doing his due diligence to the community, or how is he analyzing this? So looking at this as well, going into, again, with the whole explosion of the technology and of the EVs, the electronic vehicles, with the battery packs getting so much better, expanding, Tesla really taking the lead, Nikola getting slapped across the face. I have a great video on a short we did last week on Nikola, got out of it yesterday. Fantastic return on that. I'll put that up, a link there as well. So Tesla has been just outperforming substantially. NIO is just the Chinese kind of wouldn't compare it directly to Tesla, but it's some really upbeat sales in this past month. And meanwhile, some of the other, you've seen a Workhorse, which was the WKHS stock, has been kind of going on a high momentum spree as well, but now kind of selling off a little bit due to a lot of that FOMO that really caught into it. So we can go ahead and look at all these charts here in a little bit, but Tesla, again, is the pinnacle of all this stuff. Again, going back to what Ryan is trying to think below. So he's basically saying the price is going to drop in the next couple years of 78.5% where it's currently at. So he's saying literally the company is going to decline by 80%, even though they're making record numbers and they're just selling out of the new Model Y very well. So I'm sorry, I can't even. It's been very strange. So his key words is citing that it's lofty valuations, and This is again, I don't know what Excel model they're using, or how many pieces of candy canes or Skittles they're counting here on their desk. Putting Tesla at $200, even $300 seems a little bit outlandish. It requires a certain amount of premium on the risk that they're taking, with the consideration of really just groundbreaking their way through new terrain and expanding a market that didn't really exist 10 years ago. So that being said, it really scratched my brain. We can go look at the chart here. We can look at NIO, Workhorse, Nikola, and then Tesla here in a second. So we can go ahead and just flip to the chart, move that guy over here. So we're going to look at Tesla first again, making an all-time high today at 1429. Again, Ryan, we're just going to call him Ryan, call him Negative Ryan. Basically going to be looking at that, we're going to call it the Ryan alert down here. So if it ever gets down below here, we're going to send a nice email to Ryan saying, hey, you were right. We're going to say email Ryan at JP Morgan. Thank you, and I'm sorry. So that ever gets executed, we will email Ryan on that particular price target. Again, Ryan doesn't have a crystal ball. We don't have a crystal ball. Can this drop within the next 2 or 3 years? Possibly. Who knows? Things can go terribly bad. Batteries can start blowing up. But that is a very low risk to the potential of it just kind of maintaining where it's currently at, instead of just pulling back drastically. Again, what we've seen here in the last couple days has been completely a somewhat of a FOMO trade, but we're not seeing the same volume that we saw previously in the beginning of February with the enormous amount of volume coming in. We're seeing not that much great volume, but we're seeing a lot of acceleration in the stock price. So just to kind of take that food for thought there, potentially, again, you know, if you have watched the channel for more than 30 minutes, that you know that we like to trade around the 21 exponential moving average. And this, we kind of bought into some Tesla, sold some puts around the 940-ish, 945 price range, and then it really took off, and then we really got a nice return on those investments alongside of holding our long-term shares that we got in around like 350 bucks. That being said, where can Tesla go from here? I think the next price target is going to be literally 1500, if earnings can really kill it. So we keep on having to move this little imaginary box here. So this box was placed here for the potential earnings up or down on giving. So how we looked at that, so earnings is coming out potentially on the 22nd. So we look at the options here on the 24th is saying the plus or minus $300 where we're currently trading. So again, the implied volatility has just gone exponentially higher. So $300 from where we're currently standing here at $1,400. We're gonna move this up. Now, why can I not click on the box? There we go. So 1400. We're just gonna call it 1400. So around 1398. So it can go all the way down to basically 1100-ish there, and then to $300 higher, we have to go all the way up to 17 as well. So this is again an enormous amount of range that could just move within the next couple weeks. Like we're talking 2 or 3 weeks out, that this can drastically move in this particular range for what the market makers are saying for those options pricing. Again, how you can look at that, you hit the trading tab, or if your broker shows you the implied volatility, you can see the implied volatility is extremely high at over 100%, and that you're seeing the implied volatility on the plus or minus of the potential stock movement within that time frame. Again, that time frame is only capturing the basically 68th percentile move. Again, you can have crazy deviations from that if something terrible happens or something fantastic happens to the stock. So just be mindful of that. Be very careful out there. Again, we're at very lofty prices. I agree with that on Ryan. Would I be selling anything here? No, I'm not going to be selling my long-term holdings in my stock because I'm holding that for most indefinitely, most likely. And then with the fact of just trading around it, like you could sell some calls or puts on this. I wouldn't want to do it because again, volatility is so high, and it's sometimes hard to kind of capture some of those premiums, and some of those options don't have the greatest liquidity as well. That being said, just be super careful at this one with this, guys. Again, I know it's the market leader, but we have gone up so much, potentially needing to kind of wait to have these moving averages kind of catch up here potentially and see what happens. But I love Tesla bull here without a doubt. Let's go ahead and then look at NIO. So NIO basically looks like a Tesla mimic, right? So it's really just been taking off in the last month or so, expanding substantially higher between the 5 and 8 exponential moving average, and really breaking a new all-time high today at 1355. So we've talked about this on our live stream yesterday and then previously on Sunday as well, and multiple other times. Like anything that starts moving like this is a complete high momentum FOMO kind of scenario, and people are trying to run to reevaluate the company. And it's kind of just, it's exciting without a doubt, but it's also, you have to be very careful because this can really switch, and we're going to be look at Nikola and Workhorse as well. I'm not going to be comparing it to the companies as their vehicles and things like that. I'm looking strictly at the charts. Again, there is a correlation between Tesla and NIO, where they actually have a product and it does things compared to Nikola. Anywho, that being said, again, we're pretty far extended away from the 8 and 5 exponential moving averages, which is slightly concerning. I want to do a previous swing high. I tried to do this on the live stream yesterday. I wasn't able to get really much of a definition of where you can potentially be going from here. Like it's, well, if I can, there we go. Like potentially looking for $15 or $15.50 could be a potential stall. But again, that being said, with these very fast momentum trades and this rebalancing of things, this really could just kind of just trade up here for a little bit and just kind of trade sideways for a little bit and kind of wait for those moving averages to kind of catch up and then continue there. Or it can come back down to like $7 and just kind of consolidate and build a base. If you're not in it, you have to really wait to build the base on the stock here, or potentially it start coming down to some moving averages that we like to get into is around the 21 and 34 on the daily side. It is on RSI overextended here, aka overbought. Volume oscillator is literally trying to go break through the chart. It's very, again, I don't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole, even though it looks like could continue going higher. It's just not my kind of trading, and because this thing can really switch on a dime and go down $4 or $5 within a day, and they could potentially bounce back without a doubt, but it's just not my cup of tea. I like to get in before this move and then sell into strength. And then next we can look at the Workhorse group, which is WKHS. So this is actually fairly large down today, but it's still kind of rebounding between these moving averages. So again, this thing really kind of came on the scene. It was like a $2 stock last month, and then the beginning of end of May into last month, it really just took off, basically going from like $2.50 all the way up to $22, call it 23. Again, really using that 5 and 8 exponential moving average on the daily side with this really high momentum and just continuously pushing higher, almost like this ramp up mentality. We talk about this a little bit. We call it the middle finger volume, giving you the finger kind of volume thing. So you have the first knuckle here, you have the middle finger here, and then the second or the third knuckle there, kind of creating that middle finger, potentially showing like, hey, we could be reaching a potential top here, and starting to get some, not getting to the most tippy top, but it's a very short or early warning sign to kind of potentially like say, let me take a little bit of profit on the table. Again, also with that, the middle finger volume indicator going off, the RSI has just been through the roof, alongside with the volume oscillator as well. If you didn't take profit on this, if you bought it at 2 and kind of got into like $20 and just took a little bit, if you just took 25% off or even smaller than that, you can just literally just let the rest run, just of the rest letting it pay for itself. But this thing, again, be very careful here. Heavy driven momentum. I think this has a little bit less history than NIO. Even though NIO is a Chinese company, I don't really want to touch those, honestly, for personal reasons. That being said, we can look here on this one kind of coming back to the 8 exponential moving average. If it closes above the 8, this overall momentum still somewhat intact. But if you start seeing the ticks close below the 8, so it's going to be below 1525-ish, we could potentially come down to the 21 if it can't get the continuous strength to climb higher. And then next and last but not least, Nikola, which, oh baby, this has been a long one in the making. So previously, last week, we went into a short position buying the $50 put expiring like a couple days, or at the time, a couple weeks from there, and got in at a fairly great price. Sold half of it literally that same day into the close, and then got another chunk of it yesterday, got out of that as well, right around 52, and then now it's still even dropped even more. Like, I didn't want to even look at the trade and what my put was valued at. It was pretty disgusting. I could have made a lot more money on that. That being said, I don't want Nikola to go to zero. A lot of people are really just wanting to hate this and just slap a hate on it and just want it to fail. Like, I understand that they're trying to do good things, but theoretically speaking, I don't understand the fundamental side of a lot of companies. I like the charts, so the charts were telling me to short it. I listened to the charts from the gods, and I took the trade, and it was fantastic. Worked out very well. One of the bigger trades that week. Again, this is still looking for potential downside to around $40. So $40, if the 50-day can't come in here for support, guess what the next stop is? It's going to be around the 200 exponential moving average, which is around $25. We also have a pretty significant gap up that happened on the the 5th of June here, basically gapping from 35 to basically 41. This could be kind of a filling of the gap here in the sense of getting all these traders and investors. I don't know why I'm calling Robinhood and Wall Street Bets investors or traders, the imbeciles here between these volume just kind of kicking high here, really driving the price higher. This is a very steep sign of all this volume that kind of came in those 2 or 3 days there. It could be correlation to the overall pain of people not having the fortitude, or again, they were just hoping for it to go to the moon, and I'm just hoping for it to go to $300 and I can get out, or blah blah blah, or my calls or whatever. And just having a hope is not a trading plan or investing plan, and just praying or hoping and just wishing that things continue going higher. And it looks like a lot of that has been exhausted. Still with gapping down, it's usually the candles are getting smaller on the way down. So the red, or the bleeding, is slowing down. Potentially, again, looking for that first line here at the 50-day. That's the simple moving average there. And then looking for, if that continues to go lower, potentially even getting down to 30 and then even to 24, 25 here around the 200-day exponential moving average. You see the RSI is really coming off. Volume oscillator is really going negative and pretty steep here. Parabolic SAR switched a couple days ago and significantly pushing it down. It's going to need a lot of momentum to stop this and potentially level off, and potentially see it level off to try to get back from anything, because you're seeing the 5 and 8 cross through the 21, potentially signaling more downside. Again, guys, I hope this was educational. You learned a couple things. If you have, please hit the like and subscribe. If you're interested in joining our fantastic Discord, I would love for you to come there. It's basically a link down below. I have a little example here. We talk about this quite a bit. We share trades, we share trade ideas, screens, and things like that on what we're trading and what we're looking at. It's a lot of fun. And also we have a Patreon page if you're interested in directly supporting the channel. And last but not least, if you're interested in getting into options, I have a affiliate link with Tastyworks. If you open an account with 2K, you get some cool gifts, I believe. You have to look on what their current promotions are. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is